Hey everyone, welcome to Ink Scribes, the comics podcast where we discuss the art and craft of comics. I'm Colin Singh. I'm an aspiring comics artist and lifelong student of the craft. And I'm joined by my co host, Eric Zawadzki, the artist on the critically acclaimed Assorted Crisis events from Image Comics, the trade paperback for which collecting issues 1 to 5 is out now, and Taylor Stauft, the creator of Luke Zenith's Wedding Day, the short story featured in the anthology Faster Than Light, Volume 2. Today, we've got a very special episode, the first in a chronological look at the selective but extremely influential career of Paul Smith. We're going to start with his Marvel work, including his incredible run on Uncanny X-Men.
So yeah, what'd you guys think of all these comics?
So this is the first time that I actually read them, and to be honest, when I started reading the earlier issues, my thought was, why are we covering this guy? But there is a notable incline in his skill throughout these issues.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Just because it's like the beginning, it's pretty basic, but as he goes, he builds up in complexity, and his fundamentals get really strong, and he starts being able to push stuff, and he doesn't let the endless amount of thought balloons get in his way that Claremont insists on burdening every single book with.
Oh no, man! I love these comics so much. So
Yeah,
I won't
yeah,
stand for
same.
you besmirching all the
Dude,
excessive
I'm gonna
writing.
actually, you know what? I'm gonna school you on the symbiosis of the narration, how it works perfectly with the storytelling for Paul
I think it
Smith.
works very well in this instance. Like there are some, like I will throw to Calgary's own John Byrne doesn't work as well with, but these, like, it's a notable difference to me. I
Well,
was I was really impressed.
Chris Claremont went through his own progression, and this is the Paul Smith run is a significant leap forward in Chris Claremont's writing.
I
Yeah, I
can see
love
that.
these
Okay, yeah,
comics so much.
yeah,
These comics are that rare blend of like great writing and great art.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think the art is so animated and lively. The characters are so fluid, just great storytelling. It's got that polished look without feeling stiff,
yeah.
and just the character-driven writing of Chris Claremont was what turned the X-Men into such a giant hit.
Yeah, I could definitely see the strengths of Claremont a lot clearer in this. I know that at one point it was Wheezy Simonson who said that if you ever ran into an issue, she would just go back to like a dangling plot thread, be like, "Well, why don't you expand on this?" And you can see him like pick stuff up and put stuff down, and it feels a lot more cohesive. And I have to think that Paul Smith's art is a big part of that, right? You work a writer and artist working together, much like our very own Eric and Dennis Camp on Assorted Crisis events. There's a real interlocking there, you know.
Yeah, it is noteworthy that Paul Smith was the third artist to regularly draw the all new, all different X Men after Dave Cockrum and John Byrne.
Yeah.
Oh
So we
yeah.
are going to dive right into his Uncanny X-Men run with a quick look, but we're also going to start with a quick look at his first Marvel work, which was Marvel Fanfare #4. So I will say, I think it's like unanimously agreed. Like Eric said, it was a huge run. This is the run that made X-Men into a juggernaut. But I think it's unanimously agreed that also Smith's work on the X-Men influenced every artist thereafter that was involved with any X title, I think. So we're going to be looking at Marvel Fanfare #4, and we're also going to be looking at towards the end X-Men and Alpha Flight #1 and 2. Along with that, we're going to have some comparisons using the artist edition. So the books that because it's such a large run, we're going to be selecting 4 books. We're going to look at 165, 168, 170, and 173.
We'll look at little bits of everything, though. I hope, right? But more extensively those issues.
Yeah, just extensively we're going to be looking at these issues, but we will get through everything by the end of the episode.
So, are you guys aware that he worked with Ralph Bakshi?
No. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he worked.
That makes
Rings,
more
right?
sense now. Yeah.
Yeah, so he worked on the Lord of the Rings, Ralph Bakshi movie, and
Okay.
American Pop, and yeah, he just did storyboard and animation for that stuff.
Well, that's cool.
I do have concerning his style. I do have a quote about that, and this is from he. Before he worked on X-Men, he did a bunch of interviews, and so he did an interview in Amazing Heroes number 12. And so just concerning his style, he said, "I learned how to draw real well as an animator, drawing constantly over and over and over again, learning how to turn bodies and shifting weights, characterization, things of that nature. My drawing had simplified itself a great deal. I wanted to be Neil Adams for the longest time, and I became much more interested in the line than in the form. This is not to say that that's what Neil's doing, but in looking at the superficial aspects of Neil's work, I became enmeshed in this line work without understanding the reason it was there. And in animation, you can't do that. You've got to deal strictly with form. That's all you have time for. So that was a very valuable experience." And he also said, "I had spent so many years trying to be the next Neil Adams, the next Jack Kirby, the next Steve Ditko, the next Frank Frazetta, until I got into animation, got away from comics for a while, and when I got back, I thought, why not just be yourself?"
A struggle that we all have, am I right?
Yeah, I mean, there is a sort of journey that every artist goes through where you're just trying to learn everything and trying to do things right.
Yeah.
And mixed into that is like the question of style, and ideally you reach a point where you've learned all the technicals, you can just sort of let go and just be you. And I guess that's the journey he came into. It is interesting because with this comic, this is what, Colin, would you say this is one of his first ever comics?
This Marvel Fanfare number 4 is his first work for Marvel that was published. He may have done something before or after this actually came out. So this actually
it is so good for one of his first comics.
Look
right?
at the splash page. Isn't this like Arthur Adams right from the get-go? Right, this is what he drew from. Like this is the father of Arthur Adams, you could say. Like look at even just the anatomy. Right, the extended proportions, and overall, like the figure work too. Like drawing a seated pose like this with one leg coming in, and just the atmosphere, everything about it. It's I could see Arthur Adams about it.
Yeah. Yeah, his poses are fantastic. Yeah, like he does have a great grasp of, well, he references it himself, the shifting of weight, like placing weight on things. Which, if I remember from art history correctly, that's how you convey movement as well, because weight is placed on stuff that is pushing forward.
We're not going to spend too much time on this one, but this book is the book that got him the job for X-Men. So it's a story that is a wrap-up of a Savage Land tale that's been told in previous issues with Khazar and Sauron and the X-Men. They were originally illustrated by Michael Golden. Michael Golden also does a story at the back of this one, but so I don't know what the scheduling was like with that. Like, I don't know why he didn't finish this story. Instead, he decided to do, I think it was a Doctor Strange story at the end. But in any case, one thing that I wanted to, so since this is technically his first work, I just wanted to bring some attention to, his budding talent. Like, I'll take this face, for example, this one in the bottom left corner. So you can see he's got a really good grasp of facial anatomy. Like the eyes are set into the sockets. The shadows are hitting exactly right. Like even the hair looks naturally set, but it's not photographic. Like I know that he's used photo reference in his work, but it's not in any way obvious or copied looking. You know what? Like how some artists are just like photographic artists, right? That's not to knock them, but you know what I'm talking about. But I love seeing artists that can demonstrate that. Like it puts them on another level where they can just draw from it, like from memory. There's another example of that. Right. So again, right here, like the hair is just like naturally set on the skull. The eyes are in the sockets. Like, you see a lot of that in every close-up panel, and not like it's all correct. He
Yeah.
makes it look easy.
What's interesting about this art is there's a lot of hatching and a lot of like rendering on the faces, and just a lot of like, yeah, hatching and cross hatching in general on these, which we don't see a lot in the Uncanny X-Men work.
No, he drops that out real quick. Which is, you get in there and you think, oh, I got to do all kinds of stuff. He probably has a lot more time to do. Like he's probably got a month to do this short story, and
Right.
then
Yeah.
he's on a rising book, a notable book that has been resurrected from the ashes and has just had Burn on it. And he's probably thinking like, okay, well, as is the running theme of this show, learning what you can drop out.
Yeah, and I do have a quote about that. He said, "I knew I'd be compared to fan favorite Uncanny X-Men penciler John Byrne's version, which had all this rendering and cross hatching. So I decided to deal strictly with form and silhouette, and the audience bought it." So it seems like it was a direct response. Like that sort of polished look was a direct response to John Byrne's art, even though he was taking over for Dave Cockrum. But Dave Cockrum and John Byrne have that same sort of like very detailed, lots of hatching, lots of rendering aspect. Which
Yeah.
that's what comics looked like back then. It's like if you were an illustrator, you just that's what you did. You put a lot of hatching, you put a lot of rendering, a lot of cross hatching.
Yeah, it was the illustration style of the time.
Which probably was why it felt so fresh when he showed up on Uncanny X-Men. It felt so like different and new because, yeah, it hit big. Like sales started rising quite a bit. Which, Colin, did you have that John Byrne quote handy?
No, but I can paraphrase. So when John Byrne was asked, he about the success of X-Men, he goes, "Ask Paul Smith." He said that when Paul Smith took over the book, the sales skyrocketed. And to speak to that, I want to it's Paul Smith was involved with that era of the X-Men, but I think the stories as well were probably the most pivotal stories in the X-Men history. You could see a lot of different bonding and camaraderie and relationship building, specifically in number 165.
Well, I just wanted to comment on that John Byrne quote because I remember reading that a while back and thinking it was unusual because the X-Men was selling well. So maybe he was just being a little self-deprecating or facetious. I don't know, but.
Grumpy man, John Byrne, being facetious?
Yeah, I mean, because it sold well enough that Jim Shooter said, "Get a spin-off book," and that became New Mutants. And that the start of the New Mutants book predated Paul Smith. And there was like in that same Amazing Heroes issue, it said that X-Men was one of the top 3 most popular titles in the fan market. So, but the thing is that sales did go up with Paul Smith, but it was already a top 3 book at that point.
Yeah, but what John Byrne was talking about was like the sales on the book when Paul Smith came on surpassed those of when John Byrne or David Cockrum was on the book. Like I'm referencing.
Yes, it added an extra 50,000 in sales.
Ooh, that's a lot.
Dang. Yeah.
Referencing an interview in Wizard number 50. Now, this interview was, I think, in 1992 or 1993 when Leave It to Chance was about to come out. He talked about his days on the X-Men book, and he said that, he wasn't really interested in the X-Men, and looking back, he regretted it. He says, "If I stayed, I would have become a multimillionaire." right? So if he had extended his run,
Yeah.
he would have been set for life. But he didn't. He took another path because in that interview as well, that was conducted when he was the same age as you and me, Eric. He was 42. And so he'd look back on his life and he's like, I should have been a little bit more responsible to myself and not, going after motorcycles and chasing girls and whatnot. He was in his early 20s at the time. He was producing that X-Men work. So had a little bit more of a carefree attitude.
Yeah, he was more into like the Ditko stuff. He was more into like Doctor Strange, and he wanted to do the sort of visually wild kind of books. And yeah, you're right. He wasn't thinking about the money. He was thinking about the artistry and what artistically interested in him more.
But anyway, that's like to speak to why it was such a small run too. It was just kind of like he was a young and dumb kid, and he didn't know what he had when he had it, right? So.
Yeah, he became because of royalties. He while working on X-Men was the highest the highest paid comic artist in the comics market, and he walked away from it.
But he still probably got quite a bit of cheddar. This is the point where when I opened it up at the beginning, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I guess it's fine. So I got to hear like what hits for you guys about these earlier issues, because I get the later issues. That makes sense.
Actually, it is funny because he did say in an interview that like he handed these early pages in, and I don't have the direct quote, but he got the impression that the editors were not impressed, and then he felt that, and he feels like he stepped his game up before the end of this particular issue, and then they were started to be impressed. But I mean, I don't know. I like the art in this issue, in the beginning of this. So I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what he's talking about there.
So I love the art in this issue too, and I'll tell you why. So just to compare first, since we have the artist edition with us, I love this. I like putting the book right in the center to see the scale.
What a
Yeah,
beauty! Look at this thing.
What a beauty! Yeah, exactly. So just to compare, again, the first page. And I'm going to actually, now that I got you guys' attention with the artist edition, I was going to say the first 4 or 5 pages of this issue, it's so nutty. It reminds me of just like a lot of the things that happen. It's in space and there's a vacuum and they're getting sucked out of a hole in the spaceship. And Cyclops is barking orders to get everyone to work together to patch the hole. And he dispatches Colossus first to put himself in front of the hole. And he wants Wolverine to cut a piece of the ship out to patch the hole. And he can't quite do it. So he uses his own optic blast. Like there's so much. It's just like this choreography. It's almost like a John Wick fight scene in a way, right? Like everything is just works out towards the end, even the pencil. So,
yeah. What's interesting is this is we're gonna look at like 10 issues, and it seems like every 2 or 3 issues there's a quiet issue where they deal with like subplots or just like primarily characterization, and this is one of those issues. But every issue needs like some sort of the tiniest bit of action, and this is in this issue this is the sole action scene before we get to the quiet character moments. So it is kind of a ridiculous scene, but it's just part of that required aspect, because Jim Shooter had like a formula that he required of all Marvel comics, and the formula I think was like, especially within a continuing story, like each individual comic needs to have like a clear beginning, a conflict, and a resolution of at least like part of the problem in the continuing story. And that's about it. I think editors at that time would like shooter proof these comics, so they would like get the scripts in and like make sure it had all that stuff. But it is interesting that there's a bunch of comics here where like there's very little conflict, and it's all just quiet character moments. What did you guys think of this issue overall when it came to the I mean, this is an entire issue of like the X-Men are dying on a ship, and they're commiserating about it.
That's
Yeah.
you know what, commiseration is a good word to use for it, because so I'm a little bit guilty of coming to this run late in life, because it came out around the time I was born, and for any X-Men comics that predate me, I've pretty much only read Dark Phoenix, like the John Byrne, Dave Cockrum run. But this was one of the first times I read this Paul Smith run, and this issue specifically, along with a couple others that I've cherry picked, really got me in the feels, because this team was still fairly young, and for commiseration's sake, there were scenes where, for example, Cyclops. So to give some pretext, Wolverine was implanted with a brood egg, but he was able to purge it because of his healing factor. And Wolverine was the first to realize that all the other X-Men were going to die because they all had this egg implanted in them. And he wasn't telling the other members. So Cyclops knew that Wolverine knew something was up. And there's an internal dialogue or a monologue, I think is a thought balloon, where he's actually dreading confronting Wolverine because he knows Wolverine's a dick. And I really love that scene.
I do want to stop on this page with Moira.
Sure. Let's go back. We'll come back to that.
Like the commiseration, I guess I don't know. It didn't hit for me, but what I did like is this whole interaction between her and Charles. Like, this is her posing, the way she's holding herself, the way she is moving through the space, and like the body language of like, ugh, like, you stupid ass. This is a real thing that you need to deal with. It's the beginning of me thinking, okay, maybe there's something to this Paul Smith guy.
He's so good at drawing like regular people and like people outside of costumes and just in regular outfits.
Yeah, between that and like the Storm posing.
Yeah, the folded magazine between her fingers. I've done stupid shit like that, like roll up a magazine, just kind of play with it with your hands. You know, that's so spontaneous.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It's well observed, and just like popping the hip out to tie a knot to get like the tension that she would need to tie it around herself. Like it's nothing flashy, but it is the sort of thing that like artists take that. Just grab these little things to see.
Damn.
Yeah.
Does the artist edition not have that page on the right? I want to find out how that effect is created.
No, it does not, unfortunately. And that's the thing. I really wanted to reference this scene with Storm, but there's no original pages in the artist edition. But this face specifically, like, you can see again, like, just that is the most genuine. There's something about this face that's absolutely perfect in portraying Storm's vulnerability that we have not seen before this. John Byrne didn't do this. Dave Cockrum didn't do this, but how she's biting her lower lip and like her eyes.
She knows she's about to die.
She knows she's about to die, and she's coming to terms with it. And she's a very strong character. Like, Storm is one of the strongest female characters in the comics media, I think.
Yeah, she's a goddess. Yeah. I mean, not literally, but like, she is worshipped as one and is near that power. That pose on that.
This whole scene is horrific, right? Like, this scene, it's all things that are tragic, fearful, horrific, like devastating, and then triumphant because she does purge the egg. She uses her her powers are from drawing from the Earth, and the Earth is a planet, and she comes upon a galactic core which has all the energies of all the suns, the stars, the planets. So she kind of uses her powers to kind of hack that, and she charges herself up that she manages to purge the egg, and then she floats away into space. And just this is what, 4 pages? Yeah, this is 4-page scene. This is not a dream sequence. She's actually becoming a brood. And from here, her ship coasts in towards this galactic core where she can feel the energy, and she figures out that she can purge the egg by charging herself up using that core. And
Yeah,
just the
what
way it
is
all
this
ends, as
power?
she moves away into space.
Taylor, to speak to your criticism of the excessive text on the page, this sequence is great because you have 4 pages of a lot of text, and then these last 4 panels, silence.
And I think that's like, I have had criticisms on and off, Mike, of Claremont in the past. But I do think that this is, you're right. This is him really leveling up. This is him seeing that he doesn't need to put everything in, right? It's enough for him to just at the end, because I love the pose of her when she has purged. It's on the previous page, in the shadows, and it's enough to just have that
There.
have kind of a block of text, but it is a good way of explaining, like, okay, yeah, I never really thought about how Storm's powers really work, but yeah, why would it be limited to planetoid weather? Why not cosmic weather? Sure, this is a comic book. She was about to turn into an alien, and we don't want that to happen to her. So this is pretty good. And then you get that pose. Ah, I love it. That's so good. And I do think he gets a lot more judicious from here on out, when like it's not always my optic beams that can punch holes through mountains must always be contained. Hello, Wolverine. How are
I
you today?
Yeah, and I just think that sequence works so well because um, I guess silence is directly proportional to the noise that precedes it. So it just has more power when we've been bombarded and then experience that sort of like serenity.
Yeah.
And it's just I think it's just an expert use of the form.
And I think he's probably letting he at this point he is letting the artist do the lifting, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like he knows when to retreat a little, which we'll see again in issue 173. Just
Mm,
knowing when
yeah.
to step back and let the art speak for itself. This comic is this particular issue is cited by Joss Whedon as being a huge influence on his work, especially you can see a lot of the Claremont influence in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He
Hmm.
specifically notes like when they're this sequence when the characters are walking around the ship knowing they're going to die, and just talking about like religion and talking about their differences in beliefs, and the love story between Peter and between Colossus and Kitty Pryde.
Yeah.
Hmm. I would not have picked up on that, but that's cool to know.
Yeah, and I can see a whole bunch of Joss Whedon influence in like this 10 issues in particular.
Several teens always on the verge of death. Yeah.
And there's lots of little storytelling tricks that he takes from Chris Claremont, and also when you look at like Buffy, you see a lot of like dropping in subplots and then having them kind of unravel over the course of 5 or 6 episodes, or
Yeah.
like an entire season. Because this 10 issues is well, the first 2 issues that Paul Smith did are wrapping up the Brood saga, and then there's the From the Ashes arc, which plays out over what 6 issues or so, 7 issues.
Yeah, something like that. Half the run anyway. So this cover is awesome. I love this interpretation of Wolverine. Like I do have a personal favorites of artists who depict Wolverine. Wolverine's obviously one of my favorite characters, but Paul Smith is definitely up there. Uh,
Yeah.
like
He does have a good,
depiction of it's perfect.
yeah, like he gets the kind of squat beefiness of Wolverine really well. In the same way that uh, Sam Keith did, which check out our Sam Keith episode.
Yeah, in this issue, there's a couple of panels where you have all the characters standing, and you can see all their different
Yes.
heights and such. Oh,
Yeah.
I think there is one actually. Let's. Oh, right here. Here we go. You can right there.
Yeah.
and that is something that he's very good at. He was actually it was a priority for him to have each character have a different face, a different shape and size, and every character does have a different face.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
he's not falling into like same face syndrome.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it, but Colossus's human form looks Russian. I don't know why,
Yeah,
but he looks Russian.
I have a quote about the different body types. He said, I think that's one thing that's been missing from the book for a while is everyone's been drawn the same. The
Yep.
appendages differ, the headgear differ, but the bodies are all drawn the same. And that's not right. People are built differently.
I'm going to
And
put that on the movies.
on the movies, but this predates. Wait, what are you talking about? This predates the movies.
No, I think the movies have cemented this idea that Wolverine and Cyclops
Oh,
are
right,
about the same height.
Yeah,
Right.
but speaking about
that
Paul
is true.
Smith specifically, I think he took that from animation.
Yeah.
Where everybody has to have a different sort of silhouette, and just everybody's got to be very visibly different, and he was very good at that. Like Wolverine's face is not the same as Cyclops' face, and when you're working at Marvel, especially around this time, you're kind of expected to do like 10 or 11 issues a year, and so you do as an artist have to develop shorthands. You have to, and usually those shorthands involve only, you got your female body type and your male body type, and you've got your female face and your male face. um, he did like 10 issues in a year, and he somehow pulled it off.
Yeah.
So here's a good side by side comparison. Obviously, he didn't do the letters himself. All the
Oh, interesting.
lettering
The
was done
letters,
Yeah.
the roar isn't there.
Huh.
Yeah.
I wonder what the deal with that
Let
is.
me just I think it's who is it? Tom Orzechowski? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Orzechowski.
Do you
Yeah,
think these
so we
were
go.
paste up lettering?
It sure looks like it.
It's possible, but then again, you have to think of what was the dynamic with. Was he going to the Marvel offices and inking in house, or excuse me, lettering in house, or was he having the pages mailed to him, or what was the story there? Too, I'd love to know something like that.
And the lettering, I mean, it looks like it's different paper, right? Because it's yellowed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So he's not doing the lettering directly on the board. That's interesting.
doesn't look like it. Actually, let me see if I can.
No,
I thought,
I don't think you see that often. Like there's
yeah.
yeah. But sometimes you can, sometimes you can't.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so some of this looks like it was lettered directly on the board.
Oh, well, then that's probably like an edit, right? Like the yellowed stuff is probably. Oh, okay. We'll go back in and fix this. This Corsairs subplot has one of my favorite little things that you see in sci-fi comics of the 80s. When you need an alien, just make it a human mixed with an animal you recognize. Like there's a woman in here,
Hepzibah.
yeah, who's just like it's sexy lady plus skunk. Sure, why not?
Or she's a cat, isn't she?
Is that what she is? Because she reads like skunk, which is now making the pew make a lot more sense. That is a mistake that a illiterate French cat could make.
So it's known in the X-Men fan community, I think, that this particular issue ends Chris Claremont's exploration of traditional superheroics. From this point on, stories broke away from that regular story formula, and things became more nuanced. The villains, the themes, the overarching stories became more complex. And I mean, could you guys see that with later issues? Like this has a this Brood Saga, punch and well,
it's aliens, right? It's
well,
the xenomorphs and
And not to get too deep into the weeds, but like with this Brood saga, there was before the Paul Smith stuff, they were debating the ethics of killing this alien species, and then the ending is, oh well, they've been enslaving this race of space whales, and so in order to save the enslaved space whales, they have to die, and that was grappling with like the ethics of superheroics or whatever. But he moves beyond that. And these later issues are less traditional superhero stories.
It does feel like there's a definite shift to the more, I guess, soap operatic features that his work would become more well known for.
Yeah, these comics are I always say the three pillars of X-Men comics are the I guess the Prejudice allegory. It's an action comic and it's a soap opera, and like heavy on the soap opera element.
And I mean, they all are, right? Like that's what Spider-Man is. It's a soap opera. It's a love triangle. It's my pal is trying to go out with my girl, but she's not my girl because I got two, right? But the inter family dynamics of the X-Men just like do seem to ratchet up.
Yeah, it seems like the biggest element of these particular issues, right? The soap opera element.
Yeah.
And sales went up. So
yeah, and also trouble seems to come to them rather than...
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. They're not out there looking for stuff. It's just like, oh, Jesus, now we got to deal with this fucking thing. Now we got to deal with this samurai clan in modern day Tokyo. God.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, all right, 168. So this issue is obviously pretty famous. You know, the Professor exit figures.
That page. Yeah.
This page is immortal. Yeah.
And yet, it's not the thing that stands out to me.
No?
No.
What stood out for you in particular?
Scott walking on the beach with his lady friend in the short shorts.
You horn dog, you.
No, I think it's like a really good. It's just like, well, it's just two people walking in the surf. It's really well done, and I wish, like, it's the sort of thing that he's paying attention to the surf going in and out, because in the panel at the top, well, we'll get there, but it's and I'll point out why, but.
It kind of kills me that so the artist edition has only the first 3 pages of this issue, and this first scene is 4 pages. And one of the reasons I picked 168, besides the fact that it's, you know, Professor X is a jerk, is this scene between Wolverine and Nightcrawler, and the transition from actually the 2-page transition from Lockheed. So Lockheed's the bridge between what's happening outside the mansion to what's happening inside the mansion. Is he's looking at them through the window, and then it transitions to just a close up of him, and it's very seamless because this scene. So just to bring readers up to speed to here, Professor X is going to draft Kitty into the New Mutants. And so his decision is final, and she doesn't want to be a New Mutant. She wants to be an X-Men. And she reacted very badly, obviously, to that decision. So Nightcrawler and Wolverine, they're talking about Kitty like parents, right? And one thing that I love that Claremont did was, so Wolverine calls Nightcrawler Elf. And as soon as Nightcrawler says something to him that he doesn't agree with, he immediately switches up to calling him Nightcrawler. And that's kind of funny to me. It's like it's calling your wife or your husband by their full first name, right? So that's another. Just overall, like the relationship building that you get in these 15 issues is probably the foundation of modern day X-Men.
That is a great point, because so much of Marvel Comics to this point has been giving, a lot of the dialogue is giving characters weird little nicknames, like they would in old Avengers issues, they would call anyone named Giant Man, or like high pockets or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And it felt like it was just a way for them to not be repeating names. But this, Colin, that's a great observation that it signals a shift in tone for the characters.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
and the
really wish they
Wolverine
had that.
Nightcrawler friendship is so great.
Yeah.
It's and they frequently have conversations throughout these issues that show their different beliefs, and it's great. Like Chris Claremont like knows these characters inside and out, and he's able to like have them convincingly argue and have them have different points of view and different outlooks on the world.
I
Like
just
Wolverine is
realized,
a nihilist, and Nightcrawler is religious.
yeah, I just realized
Yeah,
Wolverine is functionally immortal, and Nightcrawler is a true believer in the immortal soul. But yeah, this is the page I was talking about. Yeah. You can see the surf is out at the top of the left hand page, and it's in as they're walking. Right, like he's paying attention to that. That's not something that he actually would have had to do. And I don't know.
yeah.
I think the anatomy is well rendered. Scott has that really lanky feel that he's supposed to have.
Yeah,
Like the reason Wolverine calls him
slim
slim,
size.
yeah, is because he's just like he's this reedy, muscular guy. Not as thin as, say, Nightcrawler, but still has that kind of ropiness to him. And then,
Well, I would argue.
yeah,
I would
use
argue
like,
though, before you go any further, that Cyclops. I think Paul Smith. Cyclops is the only character he draws in the ideal superheroic form, because, well, one, he is the leader, and he has ideals that relate to being like the perfect superhero. So he's got a perfect build to complement his morals, right? Um,
that's a good point too. But I think because of the work that Smith does with everybody else's characters, it still reads as unique.
well, he's probably
Yeah,
8.5
yeah.
heads even from right here, right? Perfectly.
Yeah,
I'm seeing some Toth influences here with the black and whites and the
absolutely.
minimalism,
Yeah, the minimalism.
especially with that face. And then on this previous page here,
Yeah. This is basically a character issue for Kitty Pryde. There's a nice
oh yeah,
sequence a little before this where it's like a montage sequence where she's like going through all the emotions, trying to butter up Xavier, trying to
Oh
like
yeah,
manipulate him, and
yes,
just
I know
looking at the
exactly what you're talking.
acting.
Right here, this one, this scene.
Yeah, the acting on
I
that
don't think
page is
there
so
is.
good. You don't even need dialogue. You can like figure out what the characters are going through.
and the layout too. This is my second point of going okay, because I can see him getting better in his like layouts. They're getting more interesting. The offset panels that kind of ping down the page give it this bounciness that
Yeah.
is supposed to be communicated in her differing approaches.
I also like his slight movement in this pose.
Yeah. And when it comes to like Chris Claremont, I like it was kind of a known thing that like fandom was in love with Kitty Pryde. And I think one of the secrets to Chris Claremont's success was that he wrote women like they were actual people. They're
Mm.
well-rounded, complex people with wants and desires, which I think
As
was
opposed to
rare
what?
in the world of like big two. It was rare in the world of like
It
big two teen boy
it
comics.
is.
I've
Yep.
been reading some 70s comics for an upcoming episode. Uh, and the women in those stories aren't well-rounded characters. They're
Sue
prizes for
Storm
the
and Gwen
well,
Stacy and Karen Page are the exact same characters smeared across different
yeah,
books.
they're like fashionistas, and like for the most part, they're like prizes for the men. Like there's so we're reading some Master of Kung Fu comics for next week, and there is some the women aren't characters basically.
No, no, no.
So this X-Men stuff really stands out. Like, and at the time it really did stand out. Like it was different than everything else because Chris Claremont was actually writing great female characters, which when there's a list of great female characters in Marvel, the top of the list are all X-Men characters.
Yeah, it's like it's always Storm, Kitty Pryde,
Rogue.
Rogue. Her introduction, great. Yeah. But we're headed to which one are we headed to next? 170.
So we're just gonna gloss over 169, and then we're gonna slow down at
Nice.
170.
The weed number.
But yeah, there's a good chunk of artwork in here from 169.
There was a rejected cover for 169, which was a good cover, and I'm kind of baffled as to why. And it's a more traditional action cover, and the one they went with is less traditional. Oh, what's up with there's no screen
cover?
tone on it's out there. I guess I'll pop it up in the edit. It's basically the X-Men as a superhero team charging into action. There's no screen tone on the rat.
Yeah, that's true.
Interesting. I wonder what the story behind that is. Like it
Here?
fell off?
Well, if you zoom in on, I think it's not a screen tone. It's just the effects of
I think it's just some noise,
cyan and magenta. Yeah. I think it's just noise from all that overlay.
What?
Yeah, visual noise. You haven't heard about that? I couldn't explain it, but that's what it's.
Can you come? Are there any other covers that you've seen that happen with? Because this is the only time, but usually that's an intentional like screen tone effect.
Yeah, not that comes to mind, but I think
I've got the Essential Volume 3, and yeah, it's on the black and white version.
Oh,
yeah.
Well.
Huh. So that's weird.
Yeah. I mean, if it is a screen tone, then there's every possibility that it fell off in between the compiling of these original pages for the artist edition and scans for and processing for the Epic collection or Essentials.
Yeah. Huh.
Because that's something that our pal Jared was trying to avoid when he created the repeater stamps. Make sure to get your repeater stamps at repeaterstamp.com for your screen tone stamps. They won't fall off.
Highly recommended.
I love just genuine shots like this. A lot of what his depictions of Storm and Wolverine, like I keep going back to, like Wolverine especially, but with Storm too. Like she's probably my second favorite X-Men character, maybe second or third. But a lot of this run is also very formative for Storm, not just Wolverine. Like there's a major Wolverine storyline that Smith works through, but Storm too. Like Mohawk Storm.
I mean, this Storm, 10 issues is this 10 issue Storm goes through the ringer, right?
Yeah, and it's referenced all the way up to House of X, I think, is the interplay of her being a leader and learning to be a leader and the relation, like what that means to Scott and his absence, like that's still referenced by House of X.
Yeah, and the whole thing here is that she's like this buttoned up, stoic character, and the weather is directly affected by her emotions, and so she deliberately keeps everything in check. And so this 10 issues is her unraveling and learning to let her wild side out and to live a little, I guess.
Yeah.
Actually, for 169 at the back of the issue, there's sales data. Like apparently it was some sort of like law that like if like you had to publish sales data if it was going through the mail system or something. So
is it this at the bottom of X-Mail?
Yeah. They had to. They were legally required to do that every 12 months, and so I think here it said like the average number of copies of each issue sold per month in the previous year was 313,000 copies, and the most recent issue was 327,000. So that shows that like it had been going up.
Oh my god!
I was reading that the previous year
Yeah.
averaged 260,000 copies, and the most recent issue at that point was 290K copies. So 12 months prior to this, it was selling, that issue sold 290,000. And then we're at this point where Paul Smith is what, like 5 issues in, and it's now at 327,000.
God damn. Yeah.
And they're getting royalties off that.
Good spot.
What? Didn't Deadpool versus Wolverine sell about that?
Oh yeah, I don't know, but like there are stories of like Chris Claremont buying his mother an airplane, like,
Just
and
imagine a little old lady behind the wheel of an airplane.
and then you can see like Claremont's interest in pilots and aviation.
Mm.
So first things first, like let's just get to the cover here. Like the whiteout paint for the streaks in her hair.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely, I think there was some photo reference to this hair. Definitely, I think there was some photo reference to this pose in general. I think he got two hot chicks together.
Well, we don't know for certain.
We don't know. No, we don't know.
We don't know.
This is perfectly posed, and all the textures are there.
And we have to give credit to Bob Wyacek. Like we don't know how much of this was Bob Wyacek and how much was Paul Smith. And we haven't been talking about Wyacek enough because he was inking Dave Cockrum, and there was a lot of hatching, a lot of detail, and he transitioned so smoothly to the polished Paul Smith approach.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, though, there isn't too many pages for 170 in the artist edition. So we'll just go through this because it's actually beautifully told. I think there's only 3 or 4 pages in the artist edition for 170. Yeah, 2 pages.
I mean, that must have been like that. I mean, high seller.
But yeah, so just obviously the setup, just like reminiscent of Marvel Fanfare number 4. Like even though this is not a splash page, like the atmosphere, the background, and everything, this is a perfectly set up, establishing shot to get you into the issue. Like this is almost like, I don't know. I think of Charles Vess. I think of Bernie Wrightson when I'm seeing like the definition of the skirt, the wood, everything. I don't know. There's so many different feels I'm getting from this. And this is from 1983, right? So everything that, who knows if it came before or after, but I think of it in that realm of those illustrators in the 80s.
Yeah, I think what he's doing really well here is setting up it's absolutely freezing outside, but then the cut inside lets you know, but they're not touched by that. The Madeline Pryor and Scott Summers are protected, and it's a great. Well, as you say, it's like it's atmospheric. He's getting because he's got like the wood, the fire, and then everything outside.
And this double page here too, like I'm just seeing Alex Toth, Alex Toth, Alex Toth, Alex Toth, Alex Toth.
Yeah. Just going right throughout. Yeah.
And that's not a knock. That's actually like, it speaks to his own talent.
Yeah. Man, I love the Cyclops face. Like Cyclops has just such a distinct face, and I love it.
Yeah, he's starting to give. He's transitioning to I don't know, like a rendering style or a structural style that I'm more into by this issue. I also love the way that he is depicting the intimacy between Madeline Pryor and Cyclops, like the page where their fingers are just like loosely intertwined. I think it's the second page. Yeah. It's just like it's a nice little detail that it's not. I don't know. It's setting up the stage of this relationship that is like, oh, I feel very close to you, but this hasn't become the thing that it will become yet.
Even here,
such great little details like that, right?
Yeah, like the handing back and like, oh, this bitch. Okay, she looks exactly like me.
Now he's required to do a lot of stuff, like on that second page, she's backlit, by the fire, and that's supposed to
Really
like
well done, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
because this is sort of like hinting at the fact that
Yeah.
she might be Jean Grey, she might be the Phoenix,
Yeah, so
even
there's
though
that.
spoiler alert, she's not.
So there's that, and then there's the bottom bottom right hand page
Yeah.
where it's like the fire and she are the same thing.
Same color.
Yeah, so I mean, these are all red herrings. This is like trying to tell the reader, like, oh, she might be Dark Phoenix. Dark Phoenix is coming back.
Now, as you two have much more history with the X-Men, this is definitely the sort of thing that kept me out of X-Men. What's up with Madeline Pryor? Is she Jean or what?
So Chris Claremont's initial plan was that it's that 1 in a million thing where by coincidence she looks like Jean Grey. And I think one of the problems is he layered on 5 or 6 other coincidences, which is that she also like was the lone survivor of a plane crash, like the minute that Jean Grey died,
Yeah.
and then also by coincidence, Mastermind comes up with this plot to make the X-Men think that she's Dark Phoenix. Out of it's some sort of revenge plot, and it just sort of worked out for Mastermind that this girl that I would have picked anybody who Scott Summers fell in love with, but it just so happened she looked like Jean Grey, and it's just too many coincidences. And it was the idea that he wanted Cyclops to go and retire and get married and have a happy life and just show up occasionally. But he liked the idea of the X-Men graduating and becoming normal, and then the new crop coming in, and then the eventually Storm would graduate and live a normal life. He liked that idea, but at Marvel you make plans and then the editors throw stuff into the works, and then like editors did stuff, and like Cyclops was eventually like pulled away because they wanted him to become an X Factor, and other writers took that, and by necessity those writers basically took him away from his wife and son to join X Factor and reunite with Jean Grey, who has come alive. And it was a character assassination for Cyclops, right? Like Cyclops looked like it became a person who left his wife and kid to go on adventure. And a long story short, like Chris Claremont came up with this solution, which was Madeline Pryor eventually became evil to sort of justify him leaving. Yeah, it's messy. And then they went back to the old coincidences and said, okay, those were intended to be coincidences, but now they're raveled into like, oh, she's a clone of Jean Grey, and it was Mr. Sinister's plot.
Hmm.
And that's the short version of
I wish I hadn't asked. Oh my God.
Well, okay. In defense of Claremont, though, I'll say that I think what he was trying to introduce is like with the whole doppelganger aspect is I've lost people in my life, and when I'm out grocery shopping or something, I'll see them somewhere in the aisle, and I'll for a second my heart will skip because I'm like, oh, it's them, but it's not them because I know that they're dead, right? Like it's kind of one of those things. And I think that he wanted to explore that with Cyclops losing Jean Grey. And this is kind of just the turn it took. So, I mean, there were editorial interferences. There was his own ideas of what he wanted to do. And it just kind of, and obviously other writers take over and they try to make whatever the last writer had work with what they're doing. And it's just one of those things. That's one of the breaks about corporate comics, right? Them's the breaks. So, yeah.
You don't own these characters.
This depiction of Mystique, there's something just a little bit off about her, and it may not be on purpose, but I like that the idea of a shapeshifter. Sure, she has like a default setting, but that is still a kind of fluid structure. Like she can kind of go from like a soft-faced, beautiful woman to more goblin-y. Yeah, just in those two panels, right? And which would make total sense for a shapeshifter.
Even here, I think she's just stripping away details. I think the less details, the better. It's easier for her to keep that form. So like she ditches the eyelids or the eyelashes. She ditches, like the pores and everything. She just goes very Martian-like almost, right?
Yeah.
That's smart.
And this is basically a subtle lesbian relationship that is never talked about, but it's there.
Still
Looking
there.
at yeah, looking at Destiny, I think her name is.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, look at her
Yes.
haircut. Like, look at everybody's haircut. Every single character has
Ellen
a new and
DeGeneres.
different haircut.
Yeah.
But like you look at like page one of the previous issue, and like there's like Angel's girlfriend or something, completely different haircut. Like everybody has a different haircut. It is so impressive, and that's one of the things I love about Paul Smith is everybody's hair looks great.
You talking about this
Yeah.
girl here?
Yeah, and that's just like one other example. Like you can open up any issue, and I love how flowing everybody's hair is, and just how fluid. And yeah, hair is not easy
Even
to.
Amanda Sefton's here too.
And
Yeah,
he pairs it with faces that go with it too. Like Angel's girlfriend's hair or face is like this heart-shaped face, but I want to say that Nightcrawler's girlfriend has a much
yeah.
much like leaner face to go with her different the different feel that she has. Yeah.
I mean, it's. I think that's one of his finest qualities is his rendering of hair.
Yeah. So the main reason I picked this one too was so for the gist of the story, the Morlocks kidnap Archangel or Angel Warren Worthington, and the X-Men go to rescue him, and they dispatch the X-Men. And towards the end of the story, to save Angel and save themselves, they have to challenge Callisto, the leader, to a duel to the death. So in the story, though, Storm gets dispatched by Plague. So Plague, her mutant power is she gives you all the symptoms of a disease without actually giving you the disease. So she gives Storm a fever, and she just makes her sick. And so she's out for most of this issue until the end. And it's her, Colossus, and Nightcrawler. And Nightcrawler is the one that initially challenges Callisto to a duel. But Storm is the leader of the X-Men, and she kind of she gains consciousness enough to hear the challenge, and she tells Callisto, "No, I'm the leader of the X-Men, and I challenge you." And this is probably one of the best pages because you can see she looks haggard there, like she's going through it, right?
Yeah, she's been going through like a dark time over the last several issues. So this is like her at her most intense. Even earlier in this issue, Nightcrawler comments that like, she seems like angrier than usual.
Yeah, and this fight that comes up too.
Well, it's like you're in a movie theater and you're telling everybody shh, 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 and that's exactly what Claremont does, right? He strips it down to pretty much just the artwork, and I'm so pissed that they don't have any original artwork from this fight scene here. Yeah, they don't. So, but just look at this.
Those pages must be worth so much.
It's just but the way it goes from narration to just few lines of dialogue to absolutely nothing, like slowly, all the sound goes away until this final shot where Storm wins, right?
Oh, these pages are iconic.
Oh, yeah. The movement of the two bodies around one another and then in connection with one another.
This page shouldn't be
the issue was called Dancing in the Dark.
And
it looks like they're the fight is a bit of a dance, right?
Yeah, actually, let's go back to it. So in the 80s, I remember that Milo Manara was doing stories like this with dancers, and he was doing erotic stories and stuff like that too. But there were scenes like this where it was silent, but it was just like a female figure dancing and whatnot, and very well choreographed. And you can see that here too.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, nobody brings this up a lot, but fictional depictions of fights are dances, right? A real fight is sweaty people rolling around on the ground.
Awkward
right?
and
Yeah. You hit and it doesn't land, or you miss completely. But when you're depicting a fight, it's smooth and it's practiced and it's precise because it has to be, because that looks cool. And that's, it's hard to get the depiction of movement in something like this, I think, right?
yeah.
The back and forth, the interplay between two bodies. But goddamn, if he doesn't do it, this is Colin. This is when I thought, I see why he wanted to do this. This.
Your Jeremiah Johnson moment, right? Where the
Yep.
camera pans in, and you're just like,
yeah, like her grabbing the knife like upside down.
Yes,
and then
I was gonna say it.
Yes.
Tell him.
It's
The gulp.
just,
There's a gulp kind of reaction.
yeah, and just like the use of, I don't know, it's awkward, but it's also the kind of thing that you would like. Yeah, she caught it, and it's ready to go.
Great inking by Bob Wyacek too. Great use of like because it's a pitch black scene, but the motion lines that Bob Wyacek expertly pulls that off.
And the rendering of the crowd as what would you call that? Positive space, negative space. In that left-hand page, top corner, you can see like guys are like on shoulders, like arms out, like, yeah, let's fucking go.
Yeah, and it seems like the last several issues have sort of been leading up to this. Like the idea that Storm would murder somebody in cold blood in a duel, like 6 issues prior to this, would be inconceivable.
Yeah.
But there was a slow buildup to this moment. And, per Marvel rules, like they find a way to, like, there's a Morlock healer that brings Callisto back to life, but like the act of it was there. Like Storm was willing to murder somebody. It is interesting because I think Shooter had this whole thing where like Jim Shooter was the editor-in-chief at that time, and heroes had to be heroes. They couldn't be too violent. Like there's this whole story about like when Dark Phoenix killed a bunch of people, committed genocide basically by killing a star system. Jim Shooter basically said like she's not a hero anymore, and they had to find a solution for that. So as a result here, like they have to undo Storm's murdering. What I did find interesting is that Wolverine is allowed to be a killer, and I don't know what the story behind that is, like why that is allowed when
I would reason
it's generally not allowed in Marvel.
In the army. I think it's because he was in the army. Because I think Captain America,
I mean,
he didn't consistently kill people, but I think there's one or two deaths where he's like, you had to do what you had to do.
Well, I don't know. Like they don't really comment on that in the narrative.
But, they do comment on
in Captain America, but with Wolverine they do not. They don't.
With Wolverine later in these issues, when Rogue appears and comes back, they're like, no, she's a villain, and then they have to point out, like, I mean, isn't Wolverine too? Like, since when do we pull punches on who, like, decide who is worthy of redemption and our efforts? And I think it's just like, well, he's trying is basically what it comes down to.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, what Jim Shooter's like thoughts were behind the scenes, and why. Yeah, who knows? It's great though. Like I love it. I love that Claremont was allowed to do it.
But here from 165, they were talking about religion. Nightcrawler and Wolverine were, and he said that he did it in the army. Wolverine tried religion in the army, and it didn't work, which is why he's got this outlook on life. Right? He just does what's in front of him. What he can see, what he can hear, what he can smell and taste and touch. That's all that matters to him, because that's all he can go by,
That's a good call. Yeah, because there is especially in like the public's mind, there's definitely a difference between murder and killing people in an army.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, but but Wolverine. kills Mariko's father in the Wolverine miniseries. But
That's right.
I did, before we end this
Yeah.
issue, I did want to comment on the Morlocks. I think that it's great that
Sure.
Paul Smith was the one who got a chance to co-create the Morlocks with Chris Claremont. And if you could show various scenes of like the Morlocks and how,
Yeah,
because
actually,
like
for
Their
sure.
faces.
Paul Smith got to draw so many different kind of faces and shapes and sizes, and he got to draw ugly. And I think there's either a lot of artists out there who they're either incapable of drawing ugly or they're uninterested. But Paul Smith does such a great job
Mm.
drawing all these like deformed faces and like weird faces, and it is also noteworthy that Chris Claremont didn't anticipate that Paul Smith would draw so many Morlocks. I think
Oh.
Chris Claremont only intended there to be around 6 or 7 Morlocks, and but he didn't specify that in the script. And usually it's like a big ask to get an artist to draw a crowd shot, but
Yeah.
Paul Smith did it without
Yeah.
being asked, and which is funny because like when he took the X-Men gig,
He did a whole community.
when like he initially didn't want the X-Men gig because he didn't want to draw a team book because it's too many characters, and he gets this X-Men book, and without being prompted, he draws like crowds of people. I mean, that's like a testament to
Again.
his skills and his dedication.
Yeah.
And it is funny that like because of this sort of mistake, Chris Claremont realizes there's too many of them and creates the Mutant Massacre storyline just to get rid of them all. And that's like becomes the very first
Yeah.
X-Men crossover out of what becomes a yearly event.
Yeah. But to speak to your point, so there is an ugly one, and there's an ugly one. That's Plague. She can give you any
This
the
is
symptoms
putting
of any disease. What's this guy's
this is putting Capullo to shame, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Caliban,
just like
of course,
background shot, like
Callisto herself.
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
the
like
right
all
side,
this
the
here.
second panel, like look at those background characters. Those are just like throwaway characters. Just he's doing interesting faces.
Fully
And
realized.
design.
Fully realized.
Yeah.
This is like the first example of like crowds of mutants. Like before this comic, there were only a handful of mutants. Like everybody was named, and you can keep track of every mutant in like a Marvel handbook or whatever, the handbook of the Marvel universe. But with this issue, there's unnamed mutants all over the place, crowds of them,
Which makes them feel more like
right
an
here.
emerging species too, right? Like that's the whole point of Homo Superior, is that they're going to be replacing Homo sapien eventually. Yeah, that's a real messed up one.
Yeah, and Grant Morrison especially takes over that.
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
And later in the book, I think it's page. I just wanted to get your take on this, Colin. It's the killing of Callisto and the way that Storm just walks by the falling body of her.
Right.
Oh, yeah, it's so good.
Now, actually, I mean, you're expecting me to say something emotional, but I'm actually in awe of how he can maintain the texture of her costume as she's walking away, panel to panel to panel.
Sure.
It's consistent all
No,
throughout.
like it's.
Yeah.
It really is, yeah.
Like, that's a really nice, very bravo speaking to the costume design. But yeah, also, like, just her
really
walking,
keeping that,
like, just
that
the
tight
entire
PVC.
thing is, yeah, just the passage of time is perfectly realized here for sure.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Okay, let's move on. So now to the audience, 171 was a fill-in issue by Walt Simonson. Okay, so we're not actually going to go through this. We may go through it for a Walt Simonson episode in the future. But for now, essentially what happens in this issue is Rogue joins the team. Okay, so Rogue was at first a supervillain. Now she's a superhero, and she's joining the X-Men. And the X-Men aren't too pleased with it, but they accept her in the end.
I just want to note that like a year prior to this, Rogue shows up in the X-Men as like a mustache twirling villain, just like pure evil. These are superhero stories of good and evil, and then speaks to like the more nuanced complexity that Chris Claremont is introducing slowly. Like she is a more well-rounded character, and
Yep.
was a villain and had a dark past, but is now struggling with like she needs help from the X-Men because she's struggling with all the personalities that she's been absorbing. And like all these characters were created by other people, but Rogue is like a pure Chris Claremont character and becomes one of the best X-Men characters around, and sort of epitomizes what an X-Men character is, that mix of tragedy and hotness, because all the major X-Men are hot, and you gotta mix a tragedy in there. And what else? Like
I was talking to my wife about this last night, actually. Yeah, like there is kind of an in-world assumption that like if you have superpowers, you're gonna be pretty hot. Like there are no there are no like regular people who are just throwing mountains around and stuff. It's always like, nope, dudes are gonna be ripped.
except the Morlocks kind of
Well, yeah, but I mean, before that, but in general, it's always like, I don't know, like there's no one that's not just like 11 out of 10.
yeah, I mean that's the X-Men. What is up with the texture on that cover? Because it is interesting that you have the paste up X-Men logo, but on the actual comic, it's kind of seamless. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
Oh yeah, there's like a border
I know what you
cut out.
mean, and
Yeah.
this is actually paper. I can tell you right now, it's paper pasted in. You can see like the shadow underneath here and here. So I have no
Yeah, it's
idea
some sort of paste up. So, but it's
because
yeah, it's interesting.
the screen tone here is consistent throughout. So here it's cut off, but who knows? Or it may have been when it was scanned, it was placed on the top.
Do you have the Wolverine miniseries with you?
Yeah, one sec.
Because the last page of the Frank Miller Wolverine miniseries is this booklet, I think.
Give me a minute.
This invitation. Yeah, I mean that's what he's
Yeah,
riffing
don't
off
forget
of,
the
right?
beer. Yeah,
That's the
absolutely.
invitation.
It has the same signature. Hey, Elf, don't forget the beer.
Yeah, but it's definitely like that's a different hairstyle for Mariko. That's a different Wolverine face entirely. Like that's all.
Yeah, so he's just doing the same image but in his style. But like this story is a sequel to this Wolverine miniseries, or it's a continuation actually.
Yeah, continuation. Yeah, I'll say I like the Paul Smith version better.
Oh yeah. Well, it is interesting because like the storytelling is heavily inspired by Frank Miller, by the Frank Miller storytelling in that Wolverine miniseries. So I guess stylistically, you think you prefer Paul Smith's work, right? But
Yeah,
he is adopting the storytelling
oh
techniques
sure,
from Miller.
which you can see, yeah. But like I don't know, the cloth feels like it has thickness and weight when Paul Smith draws it. Whereas,
Yeah. I mean, it's
So
yeah, no,
this actual
completely,
this
100%. Yeah.
issue, there is a fair amount of original artwork for this issue, so we can just kind of I'll give you the play by play for what we've got here. So we got page 1 and 2. I love shots like this, like like it's very genuine. Again,
Do
got
they not
Alex
have the
Toth.
Rogue page?
no,
Not page 3. No, not this one.
Damn, it's a great page.
I know, right?
I really like the layouts though. Like, you can see in like that's great.
Yeah, it's the use of the negative space, which you can see in Frank Miller's Wolverine run.
Yes, very much.
Which it seems like that's some of the stuff that he was adopting, because
Like
that wasn't in the previous issues, right? And there's a great thing he does where like you see all this negative space for the introductory pages, and then when an action scene shows up, it's stacked and packed, and it seems like a good way of pacing it, where like things seem to like seem slow because of all the extra space, and then with the lack of space, it comes off more chaotic.
Good call. Yeah.
so shots like this too, right? If you compare, even though these are vertical panels, there's always like a standout.
Right.
Um,
But yeah, there's like
stuff like
space left
that.
for caption boxes or just to fill out.
Yeah, it seems like I would love to know what Paul Smith was thinking. Like I guess he was taking the baton from Miller. Maybe he was hugely inspired, or maybe he wanted this to be a continuation and he wanted to keep that style. I'm not sure. I will say that Paul Smith has zero interest in doing interviews or anything like that.
Yeah,
These
it's like
days.
Colin
He
Singh.
wants the work to speak for itself.
Yeah, for sure. I get that, but that's a good one. This is a nice, again, with the hatching and everything, you can see he's going a little bit Miller with this. Also with the silhouettes, like kind of half defined silhouettes.
Yeah.
And you gotta love that title treatment by Tom Orzechowski, The Scarlet in Glory, and all the title treatment every issue is just beautiful. I did want to comment on that Rogue introduction because there was a video that was going around Instagram. I don't know if you guys saw this, but like Chris Claremont talks about this panel. I wrote down like, and I don't know, it was taken from a documentary or something, but I wrote down what he said. He said, we just introduced Rogue, so I guess in the previous issue, and he said basic introduction to Paul was she walks through the door and we have to fall in love with her right off the bat. If we don't look at this woman and immediately want to hug her, then we've lost because there's no point keeping her around. And the son of a bitch nailed it.
Holy
that
shit!
one,
It's
that one
clasping
shot
her
of her, page 2, just so polite, so vulnerable.
But I think so. She's got the clasping of the hands, same as Mariko. But I don't think that this would have worked without Mariko in page 2.
Oh no, I
Yeah.
disagree. I think like you look at that and she does look so vulnerable, and she just, I mean, as the quote said, you just want to hug her, right?
Well, then,
No, I think like the juxtaposition between the two. I think you're right, Colin, because you get like because Mariko is quite like both feet are flat, her hands are pressed together like this, and
in Modest,
in contrast, Rogue is like she's kind of picking at one of her fingers, and one foot is kind of popped up on the heel, like she is shifting. She's kind of uncomfortable, and it's that like on its own it already works, but then to have it in this 2-page spread side by side, I think just kind of. I mean, that's the design, right? That's page design and how it plays into how it works.
2 versus 1, Eric, we win.
and I should say, just for the context of this, like the other X-Men do not want to be teammates with Rogue.
No, they hate her.
They hate her. She's not wanted. Wolverine is basically like Wolverine is best friends with Carol Danvers, who Rogue just stole her personality and life, like just like brutally was violent to her, and so we're on the side of the X-Men, right? Like we've fallen in love with the X-Men characters, and so like Chris Claremont and Paul Smith are trying to get us to fall in love with Rogue, who was previously seen as this villainous character.
Yeah.
And Rogue goes on to become one of the most favored X-Men character in fandom, right? So
part of that
is sort of like this is
Savage
stepping
Land
stones
Rogue.
with that. You think so?
I think that's a big
no. It's her personality, it's her character. Like the key to Claremont's success is the characterization.
No, I know,
but you're right that there's an obsession with that Savage Land Rogue.
Yeah, it's an obsession. Like she appears in like one issue looking like that, and every artist like, can I draw Savage Land Rogue? What about if I did Savage Land Rogue though?
Oh, and it's probably like a commission thing at conventions where it's like one of the most asked for commissions at a convention.
Yeah. This is where it all comes together for me as far as what you guys like about Paul Smith and why I now need to read more Paul Smith stuff, because this is like, I think he's solidified his figures, and then his layouts are becoming more complex, but they're not overly complicated. They are being used for the purpose that they should be used for.
What do you guys think of this? What about the layout here? So drop down, bounce up, and then the eye naturally leads you to bounce again. Now she's taken off her rooftop. These two panels kind of go hand in hand. And then, Storm swoops in to pick her up. Overall, does your eye skip a beat? Does your brain skip a beat when you're reading this page?
Oh, no. Great use of the vertical reading, right?
Yeah.
The only thing that really tripped me up actually is the liquid that appears on the top middle panel and the her slipping panel.
Right
I
there.
think I was confused by like, wait, which is she slipping off of?
Oh, I mean, they're different colored, right? They're colored differently. One's
Yeah, but it just like it gave me pause for a second. I was like, wait, did I not follow this correct? But yeah, she bounces off of it, lands on something else, and I really love the use of Storm swooping in. Like I don't know that you really get to see enough of the weird cape that Storm has, and then to use it so effectively in that rescue pose is really good.
She's like a butterfly, I guess.
Yeah. Also, I love the way he renders Viper. Just that
Yeah.
quick.
What do you think of the texture? Like, I thought they were all wearing latex or leather or something, but she's got a different texture than Storm.
Yeah, she does.
So it's very cool. What do you think that is? Like,
right here.
That's intentional, right? Like, it's supposed to be different material.
I think it's supposed to be more like a nylon sort of thing. But I also love that her hair is matte black. Like Mariko's hair is black but shiny, and Viper is this Vanta black.
It's kind of like the hood of a cobra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no shine to it. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, good call. I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah, Viper's got a great design overall, and I don't know much about her. The most I've read about her is from Secret Warriors, which low-key favorite of mine. But
I think she's a Renko creation.
Yeah, I think she is.
I saw some Twitter thread of the history of Viper, and it is wild. Like, her character changes like 100 different times, has 100 different motivations, incredibly inconsistent, and just like the epitome of 50 or 60 years of Marvel continuity.
Yeah,
just a mess.
Now I want to bring some attention to this face here. This is very reminiscent of a Frank Miller face when it's a ninja or at least a nefarious character, especially from Wolverine. They look both nervous and psychopathic at the same time. I don't know what sort of, because if we we're going to do Elektra Lives Again. There's a character in there too that has this kind of nervous but nefarious face where he does away with a lot of details, that he only leaves the eyes and the nose and the mouth, and the mouth is positioned in such a way and the eyes are kind of pointing in a certain direction that actually like kind of just puts you not at ease, and this again is one of those faces right here.
I think it might be a lack of eye crinkles with that weird stretched out smile. Like there's no upward motion of the face. It's just back.
I'm glad you articulated that without sounding like a racist.
Oh no.
Also, let's just say Silver Samurai's armor is beautifully inked here.
It's fucking rad.
Yeah.
Realized it.
That weird like double mask thing that's going on, like it just covers the eyes and then it's like, oh no, I got another piece to cover my nose.
Yeah.
And I always wonder who is responsible for putting these screen tones down. Like, is it Paul Smith's idea? Like, is he dictating that, or is it Bob Wyachek's decision?
It's a
Yeah,
good question.
I always wonder who does what,
Yeah, I
and
don't
we can
know.
never know without asking them.
Yeah, so Bob, come on the show and let us
His
know.
signature is the last signature on here. His signature is the only
Yeah,
one on
There
this
true.
page.
and on that, there's like when Storm gets blasted, and she's a couple of pages from now. I think that's like that's Bob Wyachek, because you get these like sort of improvised noodly lines in her, and yeah. Although I would love to see the penciled page. I want to see like what Paul Smith was denoting for that, and where Paul Smith is passing the baton, and where Bob Wyachek takes it.
I legit thought, like, is her skin coming off?
Yeah, it is. It's a strange effect.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like vaguely muscular.
Very cool looking
Yeah.
though.
Yeah. Also, I love the inclusion of heels. I don't know why. It's just like, what a stupid thing to put on.
Claremont does too.
That's comics. It
I
looks
know,
great.
right? It's just like, yeah, you can have, you can be worshipped as a god, flee, and then go and fight crime in with your American pals in Japan, and still have a kitten heel that's super cute.
This
Yeah.
Storm Yukio relationship is like it's like a coded lesbian thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, like Storm goes off to a far out land. She's very buttoned up and together, and then she meets this wild character that
yeah.
teaches her to you know
Really
How to be
let
carefree.
loose.
let loose, and then she comes out of it completely different and with shorter hair.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very lesbian coded.
Oh yeah.
So even though I picked 170, so more pages are available on the artist edition for 172 than 173. But I really
Ah, but
want to
once
look at 173
hell
because
yeah.
this is the one. For me personally, again, I'm a Wolverine guy, but even so, I think these pages stand on their own regardless. Especially the cover. The cover, like just his mask and just the way he's drawn here, really put him on the map. I think around this time. I don't think
Dude,
he
it's
ever became
quintessential.
as popular as he
Yeah.
was until this issue itself.
Yeah.
Do you guys listen to the Felix Liu original art podcast?
No.
It's a bunch of friends, a bunch of collectors. Felix Liu reps a bunch of artists, but he brings on his collector buddies. One of his friends, his thing is that he collects original art for this issue, and so he owns, I think, like half the pages, and he's always on the hunt for more. There's one episode where Felix was scolding him for paying way too much for a page, because it's so rare that one of these pages comes onto the market, and he just paid something that it was definitely not worth, but it was worth that to him, because he this
Couple hundred
issue he
thousand,
needs to
right?
own every page. But
I mean,
I recommend listening to that one podcast where he was scolding his friend for but like that's value, right? Value is
Chastising him
whatever
for
somebody's
wanting to
willing to
be
pay.
happy. Yeah.
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 Well, the
You've
thing is
done
that
that to
you
me
you
a
pay
couple
you
times, you
pay too much.
know?
Well, but that's the thing, is these markets are based on, like, if you pay too much, you like how you affect the market in certain ways. And so yeah, it's an interesting discussion.
Yeah. So this double page splash is everything to me.
Yep. I can
The
see
way
why.
that Paul Smith draws Wolverine with the mask it's etched into my brain. I've said that before in this episode, but like it's etched into my brain. This is how I first visualized him as a child. So, but again, there's a couple of transitions here which he works in. I think there's three overall. So there is Rogue getting attacked from behind, and how she dispatches him. So that's three right here. Beautiful, like your eye doesn't skip a beat. And then there's Wolverine, so it goes from the point of view of the victim, and then it goes from Wolverine's point of view. So he pops his claws, and then he's pointing them at his face, and then he throws them aside as well. So that's a second transition. and then they decide, okay, they're going to go out and catch some bad guys, right? So there's like this scene is so there's so much going on, but your eyes just like boom, 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 right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I want
Very
to
cool.
draw attention to the relaxed pose of Rogue throughout this, as she's
Right there.
operating as like, yeah, like I'm
Nice.
invulnerable. No one can hurt me. So she would always
Yeah.
be in this relaxed state. It's that kind of like Morrison Superman pose, but way before that, right?
Yeah, great
And they explore
acting.
that theme in this
Yeah.
issue quite a bit as well for Rogue. Yeah, it's a learning experience for her too. That she's kind of
Well,
nonchalant, carefree, because she is invulnerable, but she gets her ass handed to her too, all the same.
and it's a great setup for that coming up too, right? She's lulled herself into this false sense of security, so it's giving this character uh, this setup for a character so that when that pivot happens, when that event happens, it means more to us if she had just been like standing kind of posed this whole time.
And I mean, it bears repeating. We bring this up a lot, but like when you're an artist, you're the actor for every one of these characters. And so when you look at the physicality of Wolverine, it's like the complete inverse of he's thinking of each character and how they go about the world. Like Wolverine is constant, like going back to the cover, and all throughout this issue, he's sort of like slouched over, crunched up the entire time.
He's stalking through the night.
Yeah, and like you can see those poses
He's doing
all throughout
it
this.
done. He's getting it done.
Yeah, like even on these pages we see in front of us, like Wolverine is crouched the entire time. So Paul Smith, while drawing this stuff, is thinking about the physicality of each character and how different they are.
Mm-hmm.
Very impressive.
So the reason I cherry picked this one too is just the nonstop action in different ways. So we get this infiltration shot with Viper and her goons. Okay, so this is not really a fight scene. It's more so just like a honey, I'm home kind of scene. But all the while, it's cool as hell. And then you get Rogue dispatching some hand ninjas, and then it comes to the final showdown between Wolverine and Silver Samurai. And they don't have too many pages in here, but they got the important ones, I would say.
Oh, good.
So Wolverine,
Yeah.
Silver Samurai showdown, and let's see, and it's all silent again. Like Claremont knows when to shut up when he's got an artist, worthy of it. Yeah. So
and no background.
Yeah, so here we go. No backgrounds, but do you need it really? This is kind of some Kill Bill shit, isn't it?
No, it's like you know what it does too is it brings in like these are two highly trained fighters. They have blocked out everything but each other, right? There are no distractions. There is only Wolverine versus Silver Samurai.
And a background would distract away.
Oh, yeah.
Similar to text, text would distract away as well. So.
And if you track it, it does work overall. They don't skip a beat. Every pose and every move is fully realized. Like this is not a fair fight, but it's a well choreographed fight for sure.
I wonder how much of this is a response to Frank Miller's fight scenes in Wolverine, and how much of this is Claremont nudging him in that direction, like referencing that stuff, and how much of it is Paul Smith wanting to do that.
Should I just pull up the Lord Shinjin fight scene just for comparison, since I have it out?
Yeah, I can't recall it. So,
how's that?
Okay.
And then
I mean, like the similarities right away are the widescreen panels, which like widescreen panels weren't in vogue until the 2000s, right? With Brian Hitch.
Mm-hmm.
So very ahead of its time.
Can I check something here? In one of these fight scene panels, does Wolverine take a katana to the back of his neck?
Yeah. Hang on a second.
And he just kind of like shrugs it off? Yeah, that bottom panel.
Well, he's got unbreakable. You can't decapitate him.
Well, yeah, So this is something though I was thinking about because as time goes by, I know one of the things that I've seen writers talk about is Wolverine becomes function like he becomes immortal. He in Civil War, he gets fucking annihilated. Right? It's just his adamantium skeleton left, and like anyway, 8 hours later, I was completely back.
There was an X-Men annual that people completely misinterpreted. I'm fuzzy on the specifics, but like the X-Men were in a different reality, and so that reality affected them. But people forget about that part, and they just see Wolverine is reduced down to a single cell or something, and then heals himself up to normal, and people think, oh, that's the normal Wolverine, forgetting that that specific reality was affecting that. And from that point on, he became the functionally immortal person that can like heal from just a single cell or whatever.
Ah, okay. But yeah, this fight, fuck, it's so.
Yeah, it's great. This is one of my favorite X-Men comics. One of my favorite comics, I think. Because on top of that, there's great characterization.
Yeah.
In the last episode, I was talking about like a character-driven stories versus plot-driven stories, and in this, the characters are driving the story. Rogue makes certain decisions that reveal stuff about her character and alter the plot, and then Wolverine is making certain decisions that reveal stuff about his character and have effects on the plot. And what it comes down to is like the goal of this was, how does Rogue solidify herself as an X-Men member?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just brilliantly done, where like she sacrifices herself by saving Wolverine, and then Wolverine sort of in turn risks himself. Wolverine starts off by the comic not liking her, not trusting her, and then by the end of the comic, he's touching his skin to hers, which is extremely dangerous, just to pass off his healing powers to her.
Yeah.
And with this comic, she is an X-Men member and she's trusted by everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really well done.
So then at the end of this issue, just to tell the audience, it turns out that Mastermind is actually, before we get to that, so Storm, this is the first appearance of the Mohawk Storm. So Storm, after meeting Yukio, she does away with her, most of her hair, and she starts dressing much like Yukio in all in leather. And this is my favorite incarnation of Storm. I think it is for most people who like Storm as a character.
Do you know the behind the scenes story of this?
In what way?
Of just how it came about. Like, I think they wanted a visual representation of how she's changed as a character after met Yukio and the journey of like going darker through the Morlock story. And Paul Smith submitted several designs, and I think this design was just a throwaway one that he knew was going to get rejected. He just threw it in there, and they looked at that and said, "No, we want that one," which Paul Smith wasn't expecting, because it is very wild. It is so wild that this firmly established character now looks like this. There's also how Kitty Pryde reacts.
Right.
Louis Simonson, the editor of this, I don't know if I'm getting the story correctly. I think it was Louis Simonson, but like there was somebody in her life that changed their haircut, and then there was like the 13-year-old girl in the family reacted this way. And so this was just them putting a real world thing that does happen. And, with young girls, with teenagers in general, like these little things can be the end of the world, right?
Oh, yeah.
It very emotionally to this stuff.
It felt so real in that way that, like, okay, so we've all just survived a bunch of fights, and now we're headed to this samurai mafia wedding with our friend with claws. Anyway, check out Storm's new hair. Oh my God, you've ruined everything.
Yeah, for this teenage girl, it's the end of the world. It's these little details that are so real, so specific, so great.
the scene itself where she just shows up, it's a blink if you'll miss it scene. And when I was prepping for this episode, I'm like, well, which ones am I want to do the one where, Storm first shows up with a mohawk. And I'd already selected this one. I'm like, oh, which one is it? Which one is it? And all these big events happen in this book like that, you think spread across all of them, like it would have happened every issue or something like that. But no, all of this happened in this one. So it's a double pick. I think this is Paul Smith's best performance in terms of an artist on the X-Men run, but also Mohawk Storm. Like this character design is fantastic.
Yeah, as I had read online, this is the issue where Mohawk Storm shows up, and I was like, really? Because we got only like a few pages to go. The farther I get into this book, I'm like, really? Like when's this gonna happen? And then for it to just be, no, it's just this one panel of blam, it's here. Because the next page, I really like as well.
I love that page. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The Scott and Madeline stuff.
So this is Paul Smith as an animator, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And how often was this being done back in the 80s? Really, this is 1983,
right? Yeah.
Well, and this is an example of good comic timing, which is not easy in comics, but this is how you do comedy scenes, which is something we talk about a lot on this show.
Yeah, her frozen face until the end, and it's just like this sharp snap to the side.
And punctuated by the yawn. The yawn is so perfect. It brings it all around, right?
Yeah. To catch the readers up, I was just going to say, just to catch the readers up. So Mastermind turns out to be mind controlling Mariko, so she doesn't end up marrying Wolverine. She ditches him at the altar. But this final page, as she walks out on him, she walks past Mastermind. And I think Mastermind only appeared in the Dark Phoenix saga before this, so it's not even that you can recognize him right away. And they really capitalize on that. You see his face, like just a cut shot of his face, smoking a cigarette. Like it's him that's controlling her and not herself. And look at the devastation that he's left the X-Men. And this leads into obviously the last.
Got that single tear.
That one single tear, yeah. Which I don't think Wolverine would really cry for anyone. I don't think he's ever should cry for anybody.
He's in love. He's madly in love.
Yeah, that's the point. That he's so in love. I do love.
What a loser!
Love the design. I do love the Mariko design, like her wedding vestments. Like how awesome is this design?
Fantastically researched for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just how the drapery works is just so how it falls so perfectly, and
the headdress and everything. Yeah.
Masterful.
From multiple angles. Yeah. Right?
Yep. Yeah, I love that because you're not worthy. Yeah, just close up on her.
Take my money, man. Just take it.
Yeah. I do want to say though, I do think though I think you're right. You wouldn't necessarily think, oh, it's Mastermind, but there is the feel of like the Hellfire Club, just because they have already shown up and they're such weebs for Victorian England that you see, like, what is that? Tails? Okay, so it's one of these assholes.
Yeah, definitely. I want to see the cover for 174 because there's like a the actual printed cover is like mostly red. So I
was thinking about this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is called surprint. Oh, interesting. So it's all one.
That is not what I expected.
Yeah, I thought it would be like an acetate overlay or something.
Yeah.
Are there any notes on the cover? Yeah. No, I guess not.
No.
Yeah, so somehow production was able to lift. I guess it's a lot easier because the art is so separated. Like that middle part doesn't touch anywhere else. So you can kind of lift that up somehow in production, and It's a very cool cover.
Yeah.
And interestingly, it doesn't have the logo on it. So,
Yeah.
Well, that's a Paste logo, dude. Completely, right? It doesn't interfere with anything. It's
yeah.
a total
I just
Paste up
thought, like,
logo.
I thought back then it was all just sort of on the board, but I guess, this stuff is sort of pasted down.
Yeah.
And then somebody took it off when it was sold, I guess.
I mean, good choice to have that in its original form. That looks great.
Oh, and I should say, we don't know if it was sold. Paul Smith owns a lot of this stuff still. Like, for
Good
this
for him.
artist edition, Scott Doombier, I believe, flew out to meet with Paul Smith to scan a lot of this stuff. So yeah, it's great to hear that he still owns so many of these pages.
Yeah, his Scott is like perfect.
Oh yeah, I love it. Like, completely different from Wolverine's face. It's
I love the design of the glasses. They look like something that he can actually see through.
yeah. So this issue, like 168 and 165, is a character-driven issue with like almost no action. I guess it's a hangout issue, which I guess that was key to the success. Another key to the success of the Claremont stuff was he was frequently abandoning the traditional superhero structure. Like, this issue doesn't have like a big all-out superhero battle. It doesn't have, them defeating a villain or anything like that. For the most part, it's just a lot of these subplots. Like, we haven't seen the Kitty Peter subplot in a while, so let's have like 3 or 4 pages of that, and let's have Cyclops with his father and a lot of soap opera elements.
I do want to say I love the idea of Wolverine. He's just been left at the altar, and he's gonna go and make it everybody else's problem at the seat of Clan Yoshida, and he puts on the full costume. Like, he wants everybody to know it's not Logan showing up. This is the fucking Wolverine.
I love how there's an explosion there. Like, I guess
Yeah.
he set off a bomb of some kind. Like,
It's the costume that makes it funny to me. Well, but it is funny that he shows up with a sword. It's like, you don't want to use those 6 knives that you carry around with you everywhere. Nope, it's sword time, motherfuckers. Let's dance, Silver Samurai. And he's like, nah, I'm not going to do that. Like, it's a decompression issue too, because it's just like, I'm going to tell you how I feel. Oh, we don't care. Get out. Like, all right, and he just goes and kicks rocks.
and Colin was making fun of the single tear, and this is what he wanted. This is what Colin wanted. Colin wanted him to show up with an explosion. And
this is a good scene though with Colossus and Kitty. There's only
it's
one
cute
page.
as hell. Yeah.
When I was talking about like some Joss Whedon influences, here's an example that I was talking about. Is like, she shows a new addition to her power set here, where she's able to. She tells Colossus, "Close your eyes."
Yeah.
And then she grabs him. Before this, we didn't know that she could also take another person and have them phase through a wall. But this is where, like, he's showing us this new addition to her power before she uses it in battle. And it's you would see this in a lot of Joss Whedon's work, where like stuff is teased and set up in ways that don't seem like a setup, when it clearly was designed like that, so that when she does use this power in the next issue against a bad guy, it's well established.
Mm-hmm. Colin, how'd you feel about this size relationship here?
Oh yeah,
I mean,
it's great.
Because as soon as I saw it, I was like, Colin.
Yeah, but Colossus does grow like a foot when he's in metal form too, does he not?
So he gets even bigger?
Oh yeah,
I do think he gets even bigger. Yeah, that's not his natural. Oh well, this is his natural form, but when he solidifies into metallic form, I think he's a little bit more Hulk-like. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see like Kitty Pryde is 5 foot even, and regular Pyotr Rasputinovich or whatever his name is like 6'5".
It's a shame
And
we don't have the later pages in the artist edition, because there's a lot of cool screen tones towards the end here. And there's, at the end of this issue, is this great shot of Phoenix, a close up of her face. And I do want to highlight that for the most part, the work is polished without any hatching or cross hatching. But when there's a close up of a face, you kind of have to add a little bit of detailing, I think. And this shot is just gorgeous.
Oh yeah, because it radiates power. I just love the her just decking Scott like, am I the Phoenix? Fuck you very much.
Oh yeah, and that was an important moment for Chris Claremont. I think was to establish how she feels about this. It was very important to him that we get into her headspace about how offensive this was to her.
I also like the realism of in story. All right, well, the glasses are off. I'm not going to get down on all fours and pad around for them like I'm in a fucking Scooby-Doo cartoon. I carry an emergency set of goggles with me just in case.
Yeah. Great bit of world building.
Yeah.
A lot of
Great
zipper
cover.
tone going on right over here. Yeah, it's a great one. There was one of the, I think it's the first or second covers with Wolverine on it. It had the back of his head too. I think this is very reminiscent of that.
The Wolverine cowl here is interesting because he has the Wolverine fins kind of wrap around his skull, whereas the other ways to do it is it's just sort of a kind of flattens out. It's like, I don't know, how do you describe that?
Yeah, it just kind of juts out to the side. I prefer this, like it kind of like it kind of like moves but separates out from the skull almost.
Yeah, I've seen it described as almost helmet like, how it wraps around, and you guys did notice that in these issues, right? How he draws the cowl.
Oh yeah, that double page spread where he's got the guy by the neck and Rogue
Actually,
is in the
but
background.
But that double page spread, I didn't bring it up, but it is different because it does seem like a fabric. It seemed different. Like every other time he draws it, it wraps around. Even in that issue, it like wraps around his skull more. But that double page spread,
that one there.
Yeah, so that doesn't wrap around his skull. Like
it does a bit.
It is, yeah. That should have like a line coming from that point, kind of swooping down to kind of complete it. Yeah,
and everywhere else he draws it that way, where he draws it like wrapping around.
Well, maybe he's just thinking in terms of light and thinking, that's getting blown out.
Yeah, I'm not sure, or maybe it just like looked very graphic that way, looked very appealing, and he wanted it that way.
Yeah.
But I did find it interesting that
because the thinness suggests it's wrapping,
Yeah.
There's a lot of artwork from 175 in this, and some great, again, establishing shots with all the cast of characters, multiple shots even.
Yeah, to draw a team book, you have to draw so many characters. It's just so much work. He wanted to be drawing. He's a big Steve Ditko guy. He wanted to be drawing Spider-Man or Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, yeah.
And so it's funny. This is kind of funny. Is like he ends up on X-Men. He's absolutely revered for it, and he just wants to get off. He's like, can't wait to go to Doctor Strange. And it is interesting how that works out. And he's seen as one of the most iconic X-Men artists, and I think to this day, he does a regular amount of X-Men commissions every year. So he owns it now, the X-Men stuff. But back then, I think he didn't, like, he revered all the original, like the Ditko stuff and all the original Jack Kirby stuff. I think he saw Daredevil as like, oh, that's just like a C-list version of Spider-Man, and X-Men, oh, that's just a C-list version of the Avengers. So he was kind of dismissive of the X-Men.
Yeah, I could see that.
But then he turned these characters that he didn't have much respect for, and he there was an entire generation of people who grew up on his X-Men.
Yeah.
So it should be noted with this issue that John Romita Jr. takes over X-Men and then becomes the regular X-Men artist for the next
Yeah, he
like
does.
30 issues. And
Yeah,
John Romita Jr. does the final 9 pages of this issue. And I think there's a good transition period because there's a point where maybe it's Bob
Oh, that's
Wiacek.
what happened. Okay.
Yeah, because that smooth, polished look that I associate with Paul Smith, John Romita Jr.'s art does have that quality for the first several pages. So it seems like it transitions into John Romita Jr. Did you guys see that as well?
yeah, a little bit.
It
I
seems
was.
his
It
issue.
almost fooled me as I was reading it. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that must have been intentional, right?
had to be.
Maybe it was like Bob Wiacek's mandate, like it was mandated to Bob Wiacek, or it was mandated to John Romita Jr. I don't know. Because John Romita Jr. has a lot of hatching and has a lot of like his work, especially around this time, looked more traditional, sort of house style Marvel at the time.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and
It's
actually, I did love this one because it showed Cyclops' formidability. Like, there's a lot of like I'm the goddamn Cyclops moments in this one. Like right here, how he's got two flyers on him, and he times it just right, just to retaliate as Storm's trying to zap him, right? And he
right.
blasts her out of the sky, and then Rogue's coming at him, and he blasts her. Like it's great. It's great stuff here. And then slowly we transition to eventually the John Romita. This is the first page of the John Romita.
Yeah, it is interesting how it's like mid scene that it transitions. There apparently nobody knows what, like, the story is not out there of like what happened, why 11 pages went to John Romita Jr. But it served as a good transition point because yeah, I think from this point on, no fill-ins. It's just 30 around 30 issues straight up until issue like 211 is John Romita
Wow.
Jr. from like 276 to 211.
I can speculate that it was an anniversary issue, so it was double sized. And I
Oh,
think
good
because
point.
Paul was, he's like, well, I'll just do my monthly due, and I quit. And
Yeah, you can figure it
so
out.
they have to,
Well,
yeah,
it
exactly.
just comes
So
down to like he had no choice. Like he can only do so many pages a month, right?
Yeah.
yeah, so we'll gloss past all this to X-Men and Alpha Flight.
Do you have page 37 of X-Men Alpha Flight number 2 in there?
Number 2, let's see. Nope, just 35 to 39.
Who's credited as the inker?
For number 1, it is Bob Wychick. And for
Right on.
number 2, it is also Bob Wychick and friends.
The
Huh.
and
Bob
friends.
Wychick and
So I
yeah,
want you guys to look at page 37.
I'll be right
yeah.
back.
I'm looking over here. Yo, this is Barry Windsor Smith, dude.
Oh, there you go. You passed. Damn, you said it before
Barry Windsor
Taylor.
Smith.
I wanted Taylor to
As
be
soon as
here.
I saw the eye sockets, as soon as I saw the eyelids and the hands with the hatching on the hands.
Yeah. Okay. Hopefully Taylor didn't hear that. Let's see what he thinks. Taylor.
Dude, even in thumbnail what I saw.
Okay, so Taylor, Colin figured it out right away.
Okay.
So no
What's going
pressure.
on? What's
No
going on?
pressure. Who inked this page?
Oh,
Simonson.
Nope.
Then I got nothing.
Barry Windsor Smith.
Really?
Yeah. Do you see it now? Yes, you can. Oh man, it's like, especially that last panel, I think.
it's like Red Dragon.
Oh yeah.
Now do you see?
Okay. Yeah. The
This is Smith changing.
Yeah, that
do
makes
you
sense.
see?
Yeah, it's nice Manhunter reference. Not Simonson's Manhunter, though. Man's Manhunter.
Man's Hunter.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing where Barry Windsor Smith did a handful of pages, and
Oh, that's cool.
So you can see it all over this. It's very cool that you were able to spot it like right away, Colin. Points for you. Gold star for Colin.
Yeah, good job.
Dude, Windsor Smith's my guy, man. He's the one. But yeah. Well, I think he did this one 35. You can see right here. Do you think he did 35? And right here,
does it have that pen rendering he does?
Look at this. Look at this. Right here. You see this? Bottom right?
It's unfortunately it's a little blurry for me. And kind of covered.
Well, take my word.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can more extensively look at this X-Men Alpha Flight in the future, because this episode is already way too long.
We are, and we're bad Canadians for not reading this Alpha Flight story.
But yeah, I mean, all of us are artists, so let's just talk about what we were up to this week.
I've been digitally penciling a short story, 8 pages, to then print out and take Eric's advice and ink physically. And, of course, my work for this ep.
Who'd you draw?
Why, I'll show you.
So was Colin pressuring you similarly to how he was pressuring me? Was he pressuring you to draw Mohawk Storm?
Well, I mean, if we're gonna do this, if we're gonna do these ones, I'm gonna do Mohawk Storm. And then I went down this rabbit hole of like, what do black women with mohawks look like? And
Colin sent me a bunch of images of black women with mohawks to inspire me, and boy did it happen.
All these beautiful black women with mohawks.
Yeah, so I wanted to get like the locked up hair.
So what did you use for the white? Oh, use the Presto?
I sure did, yes. But then I've also so what I did for the shaved area here is I actually put the Presto on and then flaked it off.
Oh, nice. Some technique.
That's right.
I like the lighting on the ass. You put a lot of care into that.
I sure did. She's caked up, and I want everybody to know.
Very cool. I love it.
All right. And for myself, actually, that's mine right there. Let me bring it a little bit closer. Eric, I'll send you a high-res image.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Good use of...
I was considering blacking out the background, but I thought it would clash.
Yeah, you'd lose.
I still have to go through it with a white marker, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good use of value there, because I think your previous several illustrations seemed a little flat, but this is great.
Yeah, I bought a trio of Japanese markers, and one of them had a gray wash marker attached to it, like on one end, and the other end was a black. I don't know what the reasoning is behind that, but I used that for her skin. I messed up this hand. It looks like a demon hand. But yeah, overall,
it looks great.
Proportions of what on the side.
I think this is the first time I've seen you happy with one of your illustrations, Colin.
Yeah, this looks great.
I'm less apprehensive to show it than the others. I'll say that. What do you got, Eric?
So I was going to do something simple, and I was sketching up some Mohawk Storm, but then I found an old half-done piece from... Do you guys remember that Jean Grey Sentinel illustration I did?
I sure do.
Around that same time, I was prepping a Storm version, similarly themed, and I just never got around to finishing it. So I decided to finish that piece off. So I didn't draw Mohawk Storm. I drew 90s Storm, but I drew this big 11 by 17
Oh, very cool.
Storm versus a Sentinel.
Dude.
Which I'm not quite done yet. I think I'm going to add just a little bit of yellow to her trim there.
Cool.
And keep that the only bit of
For
color.
purchase inquiries, DM Eric through his Instagram, please.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it overall. But yeah.
Yeah. You gonna color it in Photoshop?
I don't have the time. I didn't have the time to draw this, but
Because he's busy working on Assorted Crisis Events, which is available in trade paperback form now. And issue 6 is coming out November.
yes, November.
Yep.
And just before we close out, I wanted to give everybody a quick preview of what we got coming up next for Paul Smith. So we're going to be covering The Golden Age, written by James Robinson. And we're also going to be covering his run on Leave It to Chance. That'll probably be the third or fourth episode for our Paul Smith Odyssey. Yeah. So, but you know what? We got to close it out. We're already filled to the brim. So thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.
Cool.